D.Mon is the newest Korean girl added to Overwatch, and she's crazy. Her playstyle is so fluid, and as a bonus, she's also voiced by Lily Pichu. This video will give you the tools to start playing D.Mon too. D.Mon's primary fire is Plasma Saber. She slashes a big sword in front of her, dealing damage to anyone hit. Multiple enemies can be hit in a single swing, given that they're close enough to each other. This weapon counts as a melee weapon, so it goes for shields and auto blocking abilities as well. There are no headshots or auto mechanics involved. D.Mon's secondary fire is Power Barrier. She holds up a shield in front of her which blocks damage. The shield follows her camera and is pretty small. So small in fact that enemies can still hit you if they're at a slight angle. Above your shield, you can see your shield's health as a bar and as a number. When that number reaches 0, Power Barrier is forcefully cancelled. Power Barrier regenerates its shield health after not being used for a few seconds. Try not to put up the shield at low shield health, when you could instead use that time to let it regenerate. While D.Mon keeps her shield up, you can press your primary fire button to use Surging Strike. D.Mon charges forward with a sword, dealing damage and pushing enemies back. This ability is on a separate cooldown, which you can see at the bottom right. This is the cooldown for Surging Strike, not for the normal primary fire Plasma Saber. D.Mon's ability 1 is Propulsors. D.Mon dashes horizontally over the ground at an increased speed for a few seconds. When you activate Propulsors, you can see the remaining field below your crosshair. Hold down your ability 1 button to dash. Let go to stop. You can go into any direction you want, no matter where you're looking. There's no bonus speed or speed penalty for going any direction. Ability 1 Propulsors does not lock you out of anything. You're able to use every ability, weapon, and even shield while dashing. This ability nearly has no cooldown, but it's mostly limited by fuel, which regenerates itself after not being consumed for a few seconds. Try not to spam the propulsors at low fuel. You will go longer distances if you wait for the complete refuel first. D.Mon gets a passive ability because she's a tank. Allies healing you or enemies damaging you gives them less ult charge and perk progress. She gets extra health whenever the game is in a 5v5. This is just the default game mode, so you only have to keep it in mind when you go into 6v6. D.Mon's Subrole is Stalwart. Enemies who apply knockback or slowing abilities do so at a reduced effectivity. D.Mon's ability 2 is Fusion Repeater. D.Mon puts her sword away and pulls out a machine gun for a while. Press the ability 2 button, then start shooting with primary fire. This gun deals more damage than her sword, has more range, and can hit headshots for even more damage. Around your crosshair, you can actually see how long D.Mon has before the guns go on cooldown again. D.Mon's ultimate is Limit Break. D.Mon charges her sword up and swings it to unleash a huge swing while gaining overhealth. D.Mon first gains overhealth while pressing the ultimate button, then gains more overhealth based on how many enemies are hit. This overhealth sticks around, then decays after a while. This swing deals damage and makes enemies take increased damage from all sources. The slash itself is a wide horizontal slash and can even be aimed up. When D.Mon's health reaches 0, D.Mon jumps out of her mecha suit. D.Mon is invulnerable in this animation, and in this state, she has less health than anyone else in the game, but she grabs her big machine gun. This gun acts like a normal hitscan gun. You're able to hit headshots, you have to reload, and the bullets instantly hit when shot. But this gun has a little spread to it. Shooting continuously will cause you to be inaccurate at distances, but you can tap to shoot from long distances instead. Her ultimate also changes to Call Mech. D.Mon's ultimate charge recharges a lot faster, both passively and when hitting enemies. Your goal when you're out of your mech is to shoot to get enough ult charge as fast as possible so you can re-mech and become a tank again. When you use your ultimate in this state, D.Mon goes into an animation where she reassembles her mech, dealing damage to anyone nearby. D.Mon herself is vulnerable during this animation. Call Mech can also be used mid-air. D.Mon's first minor perk is Beast Within. Hitting anyone with primary fire Plasma Saber regenerates a bit of a shield on a secondary fire Power Barrier. D.Mon's second minor perk is MEKA Mobility. While holding down a secondary fire Power Barrier, D.Mon uses less fuel for her ability 1 Propulsors. D.Mon's first major perk is Overstrike. Hold down secondary fire Power Barrier, then use primary fire Surging Strike. This slash regenerates D.Mon's health if it deals damage, based on how much damage it deals. D.Mon's second major perk is Focused Fusion. D.Mon's ability 2 Fusion Repeater now shoots stronger shots, more precise at a slower rate of fire. This indirectly causes D.Mon's gun to be able to be used at longer ranges. If the video helped, make sure to subscribe. We're on the grind to 1,000 subscribers. Now that we know her weapons and abilities, how do we use them? D.Mon's default playstyle is when she stands in front of a team and leads the charge, using both her secondary fire Power Barrier and ability 1 Propulsors to reach her enemies. Her shield is her only defensive tool with limited shield health, which simply isn't enough to do what other big tanks will do. This is where her mobility will shine. Her ability 1 Propulsors will allow you to shield and get out of the way whenever you need. Make use of the dash's property of being able to dash in any direction. D.Mon can be pretty daunting at times because you have 3 resources to manage: her health, her shield, and her fuel. If any of those is low, I would reconsider going in and instead of going back to heal, or poke from a distance without losing more resources using ability 2 Fusion Repeaters. Try to go from cover to cover if you're attacking, or hold your ground if you're defending. Either way, your best bet is to fight enemies where you're the strongest, which is close range. When you're close enough, ability 2 Fusion Repeater technically deals more damage to enemies rather than your primary fire Plasma Saber, but it requires you to aim. Its damage is also blocked by shields. Slightly stand at a distance from enemies if you want to shoot them with your gun. Then get very close when you want to slash them with your sword. Your sword also goes through shields, so keep that in mind when you fight tanks. Try to use Surging Strike as much as possible. Put your shield up, then primary fire to stab them. Fuel is precious and Surging Strike is a way to go forward while also dealing damage. This also disorients enemies as you're either on the side or behind them, but you who use that ability are able to know where you're stabbing. Aim for a specific spot, left, right or directly into your enemies, then stab. Turn your camera around relative to where you are in order to not lose your enemies. D.Mon's ability 1 Propulsors are her bread and butter. It's how you go forward, it's how you get out and even fight. Given that you're able to slash and shoot while you're dashing, this gives her a lot of freedom for a short while. The issue is that the fuel does not regenerate fast, nor does it last long. Get a feel for how long it takes to regenerate, then build your entire playstyle around it. It's okay to just wait it out sometimes. Make use of her ability to dash in every direction without even looking where you're going. You can shield forward, then dash sideways, back or even forwards. Her ultimate limit break can be used in multiple ways. Starting fights, finishing fights or even just surviving. You start fights by dealing a bit of damage, making enemies take more damage and gaining a lot of overhealth. Hit a bunch of enemies and the entire enemy team has to either run or die. You can also finish fights by using the damage that it deals to enemies. The slash deals around half of a squishy's enemy's health. If you see a low health enemy who has to die immediately or they're in the sky, you can use Limit Break to finish them off. Or as a last option, you can use the insane amount of overhealth that Limit Break gives you to survive most situations. That overhealth will buy you a lot of time while you regroup. For perks, I use minor perk Beast Within and major perk Overstrike as my default perks. These two perks make D.Mon's melee stronger. The extra shield health and the health regeneration allows D.Mon to stay in the fight for longer, which equals to more damage dealt. But there will be games where that's not possible. Tanks might avoid you, enemies will play flying characters and never get into melee range, and this is when you should consider the second perk combo, minor perk MEKA mobility and major perk focused vision. Using less fuel while keeping your shield up increases your mobility and makes it easier to go from cover to cover, or even to engage. This combined with a more accurate gun makes D.Mon into a mid-range turret who can target flying enemies or anyone who prefers to stay away. Thanks for watching, check if you've already subscribed and have fun on D.Mon, and I will see you the next time.